Hello, great to be here. I'll tell you a bit about Israel, but also try to be relevant to you guys about what we're doing here, corporate innovation, and how it works. So there it is. We'll start with a bit of statistics. From interviews we conducted with over 100 corporate innovation teams, we discovered that 80% of POCs with startups are deemed as successful at validating an initial concept. Okay, maybe sounds a little bit high, but let's assume it's correct. What's more important and a bit disappointing is that 20% of those POCs do end up get integrated full-scale implementation. Now that is a bit disappointing, considering all the resources that are needed along the way. We should really be striving to improve that conversion. POCs are critical, oftentimes mandatory milestone to achieving our innovation goals. So we should really be looking internally at our organization and trying to improve that conversion rate on a continual basis. Also considering that you guys here are here for innovation purposes and are now also leading innovation initiatives, I thought it'd be worthwhile to share with you my experiences working with multinationals on some best practices that we've learned along the way. So yes, we're talking here about Israel. The three case studies I brought today are all from Fortune 500 companies who chose Israel as a place to source technology. Well, why Israel? I've been living there and working there for the last 20 years, so obviously I'm a bit biased, full disclosure, but it's also the world's largest concentration of Fortune 500 and Global 2000 companies. Our organization, Startup Nation Central, has been around for almost a decade, worked closely with 300 of them, acting as a gateway to Israel. And just one more slide here before we jump into the case studies to give a bit of context. You see, these multinationals, they don't come to Israel for the local market. It's not interesting. It's only 9 million people. They do come for the tech talent and the innovation activities. So when we're talking about an operating model, there are three main buckets you can put it into. Historically, it's been to establish an R&D center. Israel has over 350 multinational R&D centers, employing hundreds, maybe thousands of tech professionals. But as you guys know probably better than I do, in recent years, the fight for A talent, the rising salaries, has made this model quite challenging, expensive, and risky. Investments is also an optional model that can provide a strategic value, but we all know that it's truly not enough to adopt digital solutions. It could be a nice supplement, but it's not enough for us to making this business evolution. So we've really been seeing the strong shift to an open innovation model. And the three case studies I bring today are all ones based on the open innovation model. They're all ones that my team has had direct involvement in, and they're all ones that the innovation initiatives are being led by central coordinated teams like yourselves, CIOs, CISOs, chief digital officers, and other corporate technology leaders. All right, so let's jump into it. Earlier this year, we got approached from Johnson & Johnson's global supply chain team about a logistics and warehousing challenge in the area of robotics, AI, and data analytics. They want to know if there's maybe some technology in Israel that could be of solutions to this challenge. And so our team, using our database, looked at the 7,200 startups. By the way, I say startups, but this can also be, tech companies, more mature companies. But out of the 7,200 companies, we quickly identified 230 that offer logistics and warehousing solutions. Let me rephrase that. That claim to have logistics and warehousing solutions. These are startups. You got to take them with a pinch of salt. But out of the 230 companies, we worked with Johnson & Johnson. We're able to identify 12 that could really offer a solution. They met them one-on-one, and after a short period, selected 3. All in all, from the definition of the challenge to the selection of the companies, 10 weeks. Then another 8 weeks, they were able to actually execute POC with one of those startups. As a time frame, this is amazing. It's really quickly. And when we discussed it with the Johnson & Johnson team, they also said their conversion rate from POC to commercialization is at 60%. So I spoke with their global IT director, asking a little bit about what are the mechanisms within Johnson & Johnson that allow you to do this. By the way, I think there's some Johnson & Johnson VPs here. Would love to hear from you as well. So getting into it, a corporate culture of okay to fail. I'm sure maybe you guys have heard this a million times. I've said this personally a million times, but she really believed in it. Goals and KPIs, this is something we do, quite common, but she also recommended revisiting the goals and KPIs throughout the POC process. Sometimes POCs can take weeks, months, but even a year. And so when you revisit those goals and KPIs, you'll be able to ensure that you stay in scope. And then focusing on the business outcome. I think this was discussed earlier. We're not here to just do technology for the sake of doing technology. Because after you're done with the POC and you decide to do a company-wide rollout, you'll be expected to sell that technology internally to those who will be using it. So if you're focusing on the bottom line and really able to show that it has a positive impact, you'll be really able to make sure that your solution does have value for your organization. All right, let's talk about beer. 25% of the beers sold in the world are under the AB InBev brand. They've grown to this size in the last 10 years, mostly through mergers and acquisitions, including the acquisition of Anheuser-Busch here in the US. Our collaboration with them started with their CIO, who came to Israel looking for cyber and operational technologies. He was really excited to kind of meet the startups and discover opportunities, but he was also hesitant to get the organization involved. Instead, he revisited Israel over the course of 6 months, each time with different functions within his organization. We hosted delegations from procurement, supply chain, IT, even their chief people's officer. Ultimately, the CEO also came for a 2-day visit, and shortly after opened their Open Innovation Hub in Tel Aviv. Fast forward 2 years, they've done 22 POCs, 10 of them commercialized, and also 1 acquisition. So my takeaway here is you really need to incorporate and assess, or before that, you need to assess your organization's readiness to engage with startups, all the way from opportunity to integration. And so in the case of the AB InBev CIO, by him incorporating the other key functions, he was able to create what we're calling this innovation blueprint, which allowed him to align corporate expectations, identify key internal champions, and really devise a structured workflow process. Who was it before? Neil. He didn't like the word process, but it really something that allows you to fully engage with all the different functions within your organization that you can deliver on your collaboration with startups and get full integration if their solution is of value. All right, to finish this up, we had a 6-person delegation from Mercedes-Benz, who quite quickly we helped them partner, and for free, by the way, with a corporate accelerator in Tel Aviv. You might be rolling your eyes if I say corporate accelerator, but honestly, in this case, it's a good one, and also in the case for Mercedes-Benz. I'll tell you why. They have this employee engagement platform that really incorporates employees within the multinational that is partnering with them. Walmart, Coca-Cola, they're also partners in this organization, in this accelerator. They usually invite 15 to 30 of their employees to this employee engagement platform to screening the startups. In the case of Mercedes-Benz, they're inviting over 200 of their employees, benefiting from wisdom of the crowd, and creating this buzz, internal buzz, about working with startups and these discussions that are really kind of promoting these partnerships with the startups. And thus, they're able to do one of the challenges that we often hear about, the not invented here syndrome. I wonder how many of you can relate to that. So this is something Mercedes-Benz has been doing, and doing quite well, especially with this accelerator, having vetted, I think, around 94 startups, 56 of them commercialized. All right, so obviously corporate innovation, to wrap this up, corporate innovation is not some walk in the park, quite challenging. But what I like about this open innovation model, particularly for Israel, is that the power is in the multinational. You are able to create an innovation model that's unique to your needs and the needs of your organization, as opposed to having to adapt yourselves to the needs of the ecosystem. If you'd like to learn more, you're welcome to scan this QR code. I think it might be also in the app. And you can learn about all these resources that we provide to our global partners, as well as, more importantly, our link to our Finder, which is an exhaustive database mapping the entire ecosystem, built to help global entities find and scout innovative solutions and discover business opportunities in the startup nation. Thanks for your time, and best of luck.